When I found out we could write about a cultural experience that we've encountered, I couldn't wait to write about my breathtaking experience in the beautiful Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic. So first I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of Puerto Plata and how it became the city that it is, and how their poverty is so close to their tourists, and then a little bit about what makes Puerto Plata and the Dominican in general unique. So first, Christopher Columbus was obviously the first tourist of Puerto Plata, and it's said that as he was sailing up, the shimmering waters indulged him and he called it Port of Silver, which allowed the city to become a major trade city. But as more and more competition started arising, Puerto Plata couldn't keep up and their commerce decreased. And by the 1520s, the city was just financially drained and people just started to abandon the city. Until the 18th century, when someone came in and saw how beautiful it was and decided that it would be an outstanding resort location. And now it's one of the top tourist destinations in the Caribbean. But what baffles me is how close their poverty is to their luxury. And from personal experience, when my family and I were there, we took kind of a tour of the town. And as you're driving through, you see a lot of dogs everywhere, kind of begging for food. The shops there have metal bars sticking up, and they do that on purpose because that technically means they're still under construction and they don't have to pay taxes. And then as you're driving through the fields, there's just random cattle everywhere, and the cattle's kind of skinny, which is pretty sad. But I think what made us kind of speechless was when we got to this village, and we had bought candy at the beginning for the village children, but we weren't really expecting what we got. When we got there, kids just bombarded our car, and they were expecting candy. And we thought, okay, yes, we have candy for you guys. So my sister set the bag on her lap, and she was handing out candy to the kids, and this one came up and just snatched the entire bag out of her lap, and we were kind of shocked. Like, we weren't really sure what to do, and we just kind of watched the kids fend for themselves and grab candy, and they were snatching it from each other, and it was overwhelming, and we became speechless. And when you see something like that, you ask yourself why. Why isn't anybody helping them? And that's because their government spends so much money on just the tourism, because they think that's the only thing that's going to build their economy. They don't do anything to help out the locals. But the locals use this rare stone called the Larimar to their advantage. I have a couple pieces that I picked up of this stone. That's it right there. And it's only found in the waters surrounding the Dominican Republic and the Caribbean. And it's actually just pectolite, which really isn't that rare at all. The thing that makes a Larimar rare is the bluish tint that comes on the stone. So the locals kind of use this to their advantage, and we also visited a beach village on our tour, and they mine for this stone themselves, and they make jewelry out of it, and they sell it to the tourists who come through. And I think that's really cool how they're using their own land to their advantage. So I told you about the history of the Dominican Republic a little bit, and how it became a thriving city and then it crashed, but it rose from the ashes. And a little bit about how their poverty is just insanely close to all the tourist attractions that they bring in. And then about how the locals use the land to their advantage and what makes the Dominican Republic unique.